when the new kids come and say, "Who are you? Who are you?" At the end of every party, at least 3 people come say, "Who are you? Who are you? What's your name?" And that's where the reintroduction of D-Wynn came from, because Todd would hear people say, "Who are you?" The party before last, this girl say, "I saw the reintroduction of D-Wynn. Why are we reintroducing you?" She said, "It's not a start over," but she said, "It's good though, because people need to know you." My name is Daryl, even though most everybody in the world think it's D-Wynn. The name D-Wynn itself came along when, that's what the name Derrick somewhat gave me, Derrick May would say, "Hey, we're gonna call you D-Wynn." He said, "Because you always call me D-May." Me wanting to be a DJ, I never called myself a DJ. And being a DJ to me, I saw it differently. I saw it totally differently. I never seen it as being a DJ, because to spin records, I think, to me, being a DJ meant, working on being on the radio, taking requests. I always say I'm never gonna take requests, because I didn't have, 1, the music to take requests, and 2, I thought how I learned how to DJ was that you take what I'm giving you, and because what I'm giving you is gonna be fantastic and it's gonna be something that you appreciate, because if you telling me what to play, I might as well become a jukebox. I wanted to entertain you musically. And that's the start of D-Wynn, someone who was always creative and giving you new music. What made me stood out, I didn't play like everybody. I didn't sound like everybody. My creativity came from within. When I originally heard dance music being played, I was in high school, 1979, 1980, somewhere around there. It was me, my brother, Dontel, and my best friend, Tony Love. We wanted to be DJs at the time. I didn't have a direct drive. I had a little Fisher turntable and a Fisher cassette deck. And what I would do, I would play the cassette and take a record off of a BMX Hot Mix 5 cassette, and I would find my own record and I would mix it, and I would hold the turntable until it blended well with it. And the people in my life that I encountered that were, nostalgia and great DJs, that's what they told me. A good DJ would never touch the side of the turntable. So you'll never see me touch the side of a turntable, you'll never see me touch the side of a CDJ, because they told me that's what a pitch control was for. You touch the side of a turntable, people can hear it. And when I learned that, I realized the record slowed down, and you can hear it speed up, it slowed down. But if you used a pitch control, you had total control. But I grew up in a neighborhood that was rough. Yeah. Really, really rough on the east side. I remember when the Ku Klux Klan said they wanted to march downtown, and Coleman Young told them, "You need to start a Mac and grass it." Right. And he said, "I guarantee you won't make it past East Grand Boulevard and Mac." So the area I grew up in was very tough. My dad, he retired from Chrysler. He worked for Chrysler for over 30 years. Very stern. My father, he raised me and my brother to never quit, never give up. Don't make excuses. always continue to push yourself, stick with, to be strong. And no matter how you're feeling, you get up and you commit yourself. If you say you're gonna do it, do it, be a man of your word. My mother was, and still is to this day, very spiritual, loving. She didn't have any girls. She had enough sisters, I guess, but so she raised me and my brother, to be tough, and to, be no nonsense, don't take no mess. My mom, she worked in the school district and she retired as a manager from a bank.
He had to go to work every day. And he comes from a family where his father was a hard worker. The man is the man, Mr. Wynn, is an exceptional man. His mother is a lovely lady. These are good people. These are really good, solid people. They wanted him to do great things, at least to have the opportunity to take care of himself and take care of his family. So D-Wynn couldn't walk the walk like I did. He couldn't just walk away from everything and put it all on the line. He came from a good home. I didn't come from a bad home, but he came from a great home. So his parents expected things from him.
Yeah, I met D-Wynn, I'm almost positive through Derrick, just, hanging down in Detroit at Derrick's loft at the time. And D-Wynn was kind of around. Well, we all was close anyway. It's a small circle of DJs as producers, and he was around us a lot. Like D-Wynn would be at Derrick loft and he would be at my place, through time as we got to know each other. And he had a soul that was, that loved the music and just wanted to absorb what was going on, and eventually started getting his hands wet and filling it out.
My belief and my faith, between my mother and my grandmother, and, just making me stay in church, really, all honesty, my family foreseen me becoming a preacher. God speaks through music. I think God loves music. And what I would do, I would just hear and see the musicians, the people, the minister all come together just because of the gospel songs that were being sung on Sunday morning. Musically, something happened to me. Okay. So when I play, people say, okay, you like you just said, you're so calm, you're so cool. But when I play, there's something that releases in you.
Yeah.
That's spiritual. Do I go in there trying to be spiritual? Yeah. No.
The whole concept, obviously, a lot of people from the era understand what a great DJ D-Wynn is and what his legacy has been to the city of Detroit. But we felt like the concept, D, for his own personal reasons, took some time off to whatever, reflect, raise his family, do whatever he had to do, and he's come back. So we felt like the concept of reintroducing D-Wynn, just by having that reintroducing in front of his name speaks for itself, but the reintroducing gives almost a signal to people that this is somebody you should have known, or this is somebody you should know, or this is somebody you should reacquaint yourself with again.
The history of Detroit is very blue collar. At the time when the music took off, Detroit was in a bad way. We were more together as cohesiveness, everybody. We worked together, we played together, we fought together, we disagreed to disagree, but we had an ulterior motive. There was a lot of things going on. Detroit really, the underground scene was never big. The underground scene was in the gay clubs. That's where it was big at, was in the gay clubs. House music was known to be a gay music, So what we were trying to do at the time, we were trying to marry the two, bring everybody from all walks of life in, into this club and give them music, because that's what underground is. All is welcome. Nobody's turned away in the underground. It's where you break music, where you make music. It's not where you play the popular music. The popular music is what they're playing now, because those at most clubs are considered pop clubs.
How does that relationship come about? How do you become, friends with these guys?
Well, I actually met Derrick at a party. They were doing their 4 turntables. Juan was mixing and Derrick was like working on the drum machines, the 909 at that particular time. I began to know Derrick even more a couple of months later. I was dating his cousin, and she somewhat, told me that Derrick May was her cousin. I was like, okay, who the hell is Derrick May?
Her name is Deidre, and we just became immediate friends. Now you have to understand that D-Wynn was always into music, but nobody knew that about him. When I first met him, he was a guy, he was in a tie, he had a cool car, and we became friends, and we would just ride all over the place, all over the city. He was basically taking me wherever I had to go. And in the process, because it was all about music, he was also interested. Now, let me explain something to you. I never had a car. I didn't have my first car until I was 40 years old. I rode my bike. Yeah, man, I rode my bike all over the city. I was a real, like you see people now all over the country riding their bikes. That was me back in 1986, 87, 88. And D-Wynn came along and I had a car. So D-Wynn started going with me everywhere. We went to Ypsilanti, to Kevin's house, Kevin Saunderson's house, to his studio. We went to Juan's studio, which was on the other side of town, about 15 miles away from where I lived, which was in the Wayne State University area, central in Detroit. And that's where I had my little portable studio. So D-Wynn became the most important person in my world. That was how our friendship really bonded.
This is before everything even took off. I mean, at that time, Derrick wasn't making music, when I met him, he was just a regular guy being a DJ. The Chicago part of it was the influence, because then I began to understand that a lot of DJs from Detroit was listening to the Hot Mix 5. They would get mixtapes, everybody was like, when you go to Chicago, make me a tape. Or believe it or not, a lot of people may not want to admit it, they would just drive down to Chicago just for the weekend, just to make, cassettes, and record the Hot Mix 5, because it was keeping you up to date musically, what was going on, because those guys, they were always playing the latest and the greatest, and still they was playing old school music. So that influence, believe it or not, it influenced Detroit, a great deal. The history behind the story was, we went to Chicago, me and Derrick. D-Wynn, let's go to Chicago. He said, something I want you to hear. He said, it's gonna blow you away. He said, you'll never be the same.
Without that car, we ain't in Chicago. Okay, see, D-Wynn was into this music, and he would come over to my little apartment. I had some turntables, and he'd play a few records. And when D-Wynn plays, first of all, when he plays, even when he's sitting down in your little studio playing records, this man was moving. I mean, he was like locked, soaked into, saturated into the groove itself. I can't explain it to you any better than that. This is not somebody that just wanted to be close to the music. This is not somebody that just wanted to dance or buy great tracks. This is somebody who truly understood the music in a very organic, unbelievable, incredible, natural way.
The very first place that we went, and it was late at night, was the Music Box. First walked in, and it was all this steam, coming out of the building. Okay. And Derrick said, you know what that is? I was like, no. He said, that's from the heat coming out of the building, D. I was like, are you serious? Wow. He said, man.
That's not a smoke machine.
That's not a smoke machine. He said, the little vents come out the building where it puts the fans, where it puts the heat out. He's like, man, D, he said, you ain't gonna believe it, man. He said, that's Sting, man. He said, that's how hard they're in there partying. I can still remember the mix to this day. What Ron Hardy did. He was playing a song, and Ron Hardy, and this was the first time I had ever heard everything drop out of a song. The bass, the mids, it was gone, and that's all I heard was. And I said, what the hell is going on? Right. And when he did it, they all started screaming. Right. And they were stomping. Right. Stomping, and you just heard the hi-hats, and they were above you going. Just stomping. And that's all I heard. It come in and said, ton to jack, and the place exploded. I turn around and look, and Derrick is just gone. He lost his mind. He in the middle of the floor just dancing, you know, and I'm like just standing there. And then all of a sudden he brings the kick in the mid, and the place just felt like it was just an eruption. When we leave out of there, Derrick is laughing. He's laughing. He said, "Didn't I tell you, D-Wynn? Didn't I tell you?" He said, "Didn't I tell you it was gonna be life-changing experience?" And that's all I could say was, "Wow." He started laughing. He said, "Man, that was Ron Hardy." He said, "The mad scientist." The guy plays with so much energy. I was feeding off of the energy.
Yeah. Okay.
The energy that Ron Hardy gave, the energy of the crowd. So my thing was, it was pay attention to what's going on. How do I recreate this? I've always wanted to create that atmosphere that I experienced. He said, "Let me take you to the power plant." He said, "It's over in the hood, though, at Cabrini Green." This is where I meet Frankie Knuckles at for the first time.
Wow.
Frankie comes on. I still remember what Frankie played "Thanks to You," and he ran Dr. Martin Luther King on it. I mean, you can hear her. "I'm gonna have this crowd tonight," you know. You hear her breathing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's old school. You know, and you sound like Dr. Martin Luther King was standing right there giving you the speech. That's how clear it was, and I'm like, wow. You know, this is a sound system.
I think tonight could actually represent Chicago realizing the phenomenon that is truly theirs and starting to do something for themselves about it. We've got out here a club which could stand up against any other dance clubs in New York.
I would say tonight is a brand new beginning for house music.
Right this way, make sure you... Hey, how you doing? All right.
It is disco music, you know, so it's not really that much different. See, the thing about it is that in the middle, like in the 70s, you know, and the early 80s, it was all disco music then. You know, there's so much stuff that was produced, I mean, and really produced well and put out on the market, you know, and the thing about it is that a lot of it got past the city, you know, and the city on a whole, but as far as like, you know, the warehouse was concerned, it was the only after-hours club here, you know, and I was allowed to get away with anything I wanted to when it came to, you know, putting music on for them, you know, and people accepted that.
How hot is house music now?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's 12.
And Derrick says to me, he said, "This is what I need you to be, like this, D-Wynn." I'm like, "What you mean?" He said, "See how he banging?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Man, when we start doing our parties, I want you to bang just like he banging, you know." And I was like, "Okay, I get it now." I said, "We want the energy of Ron Hardy. We wanted the sound system of Frankie Knuckles." So that night, my whole life changed at how I wanted to present myself to people that came to hear me play.
So going to Chicago, making that trip to go see Ron Hardy, to hear Frankie Knuckles, to go to the power plant, to go to the music box, that was not to hear great music or see a great DJ. That was to get baptized.
lecturer of Term 1 of RBMA 20, 2018.
It started out as me and Derrick residency, but because of inner city, I kind of got dragged out of the Music Institute to tour within the city, and a guy named D-Wynn ended up taking my spot and playing there, because it was an every week thing. That was like the place. That's where Richie Hawtin and many people came that was within the surrounding area to be inspired and hearing all this great music from Detroit and from Chicago and from wherever. So that's kind of what was happening at the time.
The way people knew D-Wynn from Derrick, because Derrick started his set the same way. You know, it was always French Kiss. He opened with French Kiss. That was his baby. You know, it took the club to a whole nother height. I never played French Kiss. I didn't play French Kiss for years. Music I played, he never touched, because the way I made it come off the turntables wasn't the same way he could make it come off the turntable. I played more soulful, more energetic. He played more up-tempo, soulful, but more techy.
But one name that for me was the actual driving sound of the Music Institute was D-Wynn, flat out. I can't talk about D-Wynn without cursing, because in his heyday at the Music Institute, he was motherfucking D-Wynn. Hardcore driving, funky. The music was just moving. He was just humping, as my boy Terrence Parker would say. And because D-Wynn is the backbone of the music in the Music Institute, the world doesn't realize they're grooving to D-Wynn. It's the D-Wynn sound. That's the Music Institute.
Forever humble. Be thankful that somebody can still talk about who I am. You know, and over the decades, that you can still talk about D-Wynn. I've always been teaching, even though I never knew I was teaching. I was teaching, you know, I look at all the young DJs that I've played with that's now has become big, you know, and they're more humble than that last generation. What I always tell young DJs today, when you go to a party, don't go to a party to judge. You go to a party, and you go to a party to learn. You can learn something from everybody. I might have told you that, you know, my influences from Ron Hardy and from Frankie Knuckles, from Delano Smith, from Derrick May, but I can go on and 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 on. That every DJ that I've heard, I've learned something from.
There are thousands of DJs out there from every genre and for every era. I mean, the DJ business is like the Hunger Games. We feel, this is just our opinion, that D-Wynn is a DJ that transcends generations. I think he's always gonna be. There's legacy DJs that transform the whole culture every time they decide to do something. You don't say that Prince or Marvin Gaye or anything is like that's some dude from the 60s. You know, Marvin Gaye's music is played today just like it's brand new. Some people are stuck in the decade they were. When you can transition from era to era, then your story is worth being told.
I have never played the same set in 35 years.
Yeah.
Can't nobody ever say they heard the same set from D-Wynn in 35 years.
Yep.
And right there, I'm gonna tell you, that's how you was able to distinguish when people didn't know who I was, but they learned who I was.
Right.
But the consistency that made the Music Institute was the consistency of the 2 hours that I gave. Every time I played, it was just like I was playing it for the first time.
For sure.
Every time I mixed it, it was like I was mixing it for the first time. Every time I heard it, it was like I was hearing it for the first time. So I never let it get old in my mind, because guess what? I didn't never want my mind to play tricks on me, and I never wanted to play tricks on my audience.
Well, D-Wynn, I mean, we got a long history. Not only did D-Wynn, I respect him as a DJ. I thought D-Wynn was an excellent producer. He had a certain sound, a feel, a certain groove that was different than anybody else's. D-Wynn put music out on my label, put some music out on Derrick's label. I used to promote parties. D-Wynn was a partner on some of those parties we did in Detroit. So we just got a long history, and we lost contact for a second. That happens, you know, but we reconnected, and I've seen him a couple times since, and you know, just have a lot of respect for him. So if he say, I need you to do something for me, I'm right there. I'm gonna be there for him.
I have spoken about D-Wynn, Daryl Wynn, for 25 years at least, constantly, to talk about when the Music Institute was a conversation. I've always made it a point to say, look, this place, this could not have happened without, and this is who came on before me, and this is who set the tone for the whole night. And D-Wynn he was cooking with gas from the moment he started, because he knew I was gonna come in there and do what I had to do. So he was gonna make it extra tough for me to do that's why I never listened to D-Wynn. I didn't listen to him. I deliberately would not go to hear D-Wynn. If you ask him today, did Derrick ever come before you played? He will tell you he was never here. I always showed up 10 minutes before he was about to stop, because I didn't want to hear one single record that he played. It was important, because I knew I was playing against the best. I set it up to play against the best. I wanted to play. D-Wynn, as I said to you before, D-Wynn made me a better DJ, and I made him a better DJ. And eventually we became better than DJs. We became what I like to call, we became storytellers. We became storytellers. And a great DJ, Steve, a great DJ is a great storyteller. And that is the truth of it. That is the secret of it. That is the secret of it. If you can tell a beautiful story, you can be a great DJ if you know what you're doing. But you got to know how to write the story. It's got to have an ending. It's got to have a middle, and it's got to have a beginning. If you don't know how to do that, then stay the fuck out of being a DJ, because you don't know what you're doing.
D-Wynn's style is, I just can say it's, I want to say spiritual. You don't know what he's going to do, because he doesn't prepare sets. He doesn't plan what he's going to do before he does it. So there were no signature D-Wynn tunes. I can name a few signature D-Wynn tunes, but not a lot, because he's always different. You know, he's always playing the current stuff. He doesn't go back and play the old stuff a lot. He kind of moves on. So right now he's playing music that came out in 2023 and 22 and 21 and 20. He's a DJ that is a leader. He follows his own heart. He rocks to the beat of his own drum. He doesn't sound like anyone else. He's just an authentic DJ with good mixing skills, good tune selection skills, and knows how to keep a dance floor going. He's just working man's hard meat and potatoes mixing hot DJ. That's how I describe D-Wynn.